Well, hello, Internet. Today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade chicken broth. It's very easy to make and it is really amazingly delicious. So let's get into it. Now, the reason I decided to make this recipe is I do a couple weird things. For one thing, I put pesto in, so I decided to also teach how to make pesto in this recipe. Now, to make pesto, you just take 2 cups of chopped pesto and add 2 tablespoons of garlic, and then here I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of pine nuts. Then I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And then while I mix all of that together, I'm going to swing my mixer left and right and make sure that everything is well combined. Then after I have everything all nice and thoroughly mixed together, and that's basically what it looks like, I'm going to get myself 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. You can use extra virgin or just any type of olive oil. It really doesn't matter in this situation. And then after I put the olive oil in, I'm going to smash it back and forth here like you can see. And then I'm going to get myself 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese and dump that in and then mix it just for a little bit in the blender. And whenever you remove it, this is basically your pesto and what it is going to look like in its finished state. And then to this, you can see pretty much everything that I'm going to use to make the rest of my chicken broth. Okay, so the reason why everything is going to be pretty easy to memorize is everything's going to be based off of onions. Here you can see that I have 2 onions, and I'm just going to chop them up. It doesn't really even matter how much you chop them up. And then my goal is to have half as many celeries as I have onions, and half as much carrots as I have onions, and then once again, half as much mushrooms as I have onions. And then guess what with the chicken? Once again, I'm going to have roughly half as much microwave frozen chicken bites as I have onions. And now, to guarantee that all of the flavor from all of the vegetables comes out in my broth, I then take all the vegetables, throw them back into a blender, and then I add 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I blend those guys together as you can see, and that's what it's going to look like whenever it is all done. I'm then going to take those vegetables and I'm going to throw them in a separate pan, and then I'm going to go back to my blender and I'm going to get my chicken out and throw it into the blender, and then again blend, blend, blend. And the chicken, when it's done, is roughly going to look like this. And of course we're going to remove it from our blender and then put it in a separate pan as well. Alright, now that I have the vegetables and the chicken set apart, I'm going to get myself 1/3 of a cup of olive oil and I'm going to put that in a deep bottom bowl like you can see right here, and I'm going to turn that up on high. Okay, then I'm going to put in a little chunk of onion, and whenever it starts to bubble, I'm going to take all of my vegetables and throw those into the pan, and then I'm going to stir it from about 3 to 5 minutes or until it starts to stick, which means that a lot of the water is being removed from the vegetables. At this point, I'm going to take all of my chicken and throw that in there, and then I'm going to stir all of those till they're combined, or approximately 1 minute. And then I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. I prefer garlic powder over regular garlic. And then I'm going to take a big giant heaping, approximately 1/4 of a cup scoop of pesto. And then there is no time delay here. I'm going to immediately add in 8 cups of water. And I'm going to stir to combine to make sure that something doesn't inadvertently burn in the bottom. Now, I think 8 cups is just about perfect. Of course, if you add a little bit less, it's going to have a little bit more flavor. If you add a little bit more, it's going to have less flavor. And then whenever it starts to boil, I'm going to turn it from high to 20%. Now, I'm going to let that sit and simmer at 20% for approximately 2 hours. If you only have an hour and a half, that is more than perfectly fine. And then I'm going to pour this into a colander. And then after it goes in there, I'm going to mash it down with either a spatula or a potato masher or whatever, just to get out all of the broth. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's simple, but a lot of times simple things like this can really turn you into a pretty good cook. And of course, add salt and pepper to taste, and please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.